Number one in the league on third down.
Yeah, they are the Bills, 56% on third down, but it's 3rd and 10, throwing into the wind, way down the field. Oh my goodness! This is going to be 98 yards to Gabe Davis. A 98-yard explosion. Josh Allen to Gabe Davis.
What an incredible read and what a route by Davis. Wallace, watch down here. You're going to get a bracket. He's going to turn and run. And Davis is going to run right through them both. And as soon as you see that safety come down, Josh Allen under duress in the end zone to open the game with a perfect strike in the wind. And Davis shows that big playability, 11th touchdown of the year.
Got to get back here more often. And we will. Here's Allen. Trying to go deep to Davis.
He pulled it in here. You'll see 13 runs straight past the middle of the field, and Fitzpatrick.
From the 15. To the end zone. Oh, it's a touchdown to Diggs.
Wow. Just too good. They're just so explosive. I mean, you can't just punt 7 times in your first 4 games and then come out here and look like this in the wind where things should be difficult. Mike Tomlin knew what kind of challenge was in front of him.
There was nothing mystical about it. You know, they did some of the things to Tennessee, and so we know it's capable of happening. I'm just disappointed that we didn't coach well enough or play well enough to prevent it from happening today, and that's just the reality of it. And so we got to absorb the position that we're in, what transpired today. And we got to know that there's going to be better days, not to provide or to seek comfort. Knowing that there's better days is going to be born out of our commitment to making sure that there are better days, and that's what I talked to the team about. But where we are today, not good. We understand it as professionals. We own it. It is what it is, man. We congratulate the Buffalo Bills on the quality game that they played.
Good win. Glory to God for all his blessings, and proud of the guys, the way they were focused in on this week, taking it 1 week at a time. And then we had a number of guys miss the game, and I thought the guys did a great job of just being resilient. The guys that were called upon to play were prepared and did a good job there. So good to play at home. Crowd was phenomenal again in 2 home games. Just a very unique environment around here. So I appreciate them. And with that, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sean. What a game. What a game this was. The Buffalo Bills played the Pittsburgh Steelers at home and stomped the Pittsburgh Steelers 38-3. Bills are 4-1. Steelers are now 1-4. Say what you want. They crushed them, demolished them, stomped on them, whatever you want to say. This was total domination as the Bills continue to show just how good they really are. Being the offensive juggernaut this team is, led by Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, and company, rolled all over that Steelers defense and got the win at Orchard Park. Now, the Bills go on to play the Kansas City Chiefs once again at Arrowhead Stadium. And we all know what happened last year, the last time these two teams played at Arrowhead. There were 13 seconds left on that clock. The Bills were about to go to the AFC Championship game and play at home against Cincinnati. And then sure enough, Chiefs found a way to win it. So it's a big game next week. Bills, Chiefs play for the number 1 seed in the AFC. And it's either going to be the Bills or the Chiefs that get that number 1 seed when it comes time for playoffs, because there is no other team in this conference playing the way the Bills and Chiefs are playing right now. The Steelers didn't have a chance in this game. They had no chance. I will say, Kenny Pickett didn't play terrible, but he didn't stand a chance. That team didn't stand a chance. That defense stood no chance. They didn't even get a touchdown. They had 1 field goal. Mike Tomlin was way too conservative, and the Bills used that to their advantage and won this football game. They exposed their defense. They exposed the flaws that the Pittsburgh Steelers have this year and the problems that they've been having all year. From play calling to not having a strong defense with TJ Watt out, having issues at the quarterback position, the Bills exploited that. And it only took 3 quarters, again, before the backups went in. What a game. A hell of a fucking victory. And it's certainly one I'll never forget since I was there with my family. All I gotta say is, this team, honestly, right now is unstoppable. The only thing that's gonna beat the Buffalo Bills this year is themselves. And there were multiple times in this game they shot themselves in the foot. The Bills could have fucking had 60-some points on the board. Josh Allen could have threw for 700 yards if he really wanted to. And I'm not even exaggerating that. He almost had another 98-yard touchdown to Stephon Diggs, and there were a couple of throws he missed that could have been touchdowns. I mean, who knows what the stat line could have been. But regardless, Buffalo gets the win. Steelers drop to 1-4. We'll go through the play-by-play. We'll go through each drive, just like we did last week with Baltimore. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about the stats. We'll talk about Kansas City going ahead. And then what I would like to also do here, the Sabres play their opener Thursday night. So we'll look at a preview for the Sabres just a little bit here too. And then we'll talk about the post game come after the game versus Ottawa. So let's get to it. So the Steelers won the coin toss and elected to defer, meaning the Bills will start with the ball, meaning Pittsburgh gets the ball to start the second half. Chris Boswell kicks the ball off 65 yards. It's returned by Taiwan Jones for only 2 yards because Taiwan Jones fumbles the ball. Buffalo starts in horrible field position, and right away, it's not a good start for the Bills. Starting on their own 2-yard line, first play, Allen, incomplete pass intended for Devin Singletary. So it's now 2nd and 10. Singletary runs to the right for no gain. So it's already 3rd and 10. Already 3rd and 10 on the Buffalo 2-yard line. It's only been it's not even been a minute into the first quarter. And I'm at this game. Told you guys I'd be at this game. We're sitting on the 50-yard line and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, a horrible start already, because going into this game, I had a feeling. I was like, what if this is a trap game? Because it happens all the time. It happens all the time to good teams. There's trap games. It happened to the Bills in 2019 against Cleveland. It happened last year against Jacksonville. Plus, last year against Jacksonville, the Bills were a 14-point favorite. It was the same in this game, so I had my right to be a little nervous. Was I worried about Pittsburgh? No. Is Buffalo a better team than Pittsburgh? Absolutely. But I was like, if this is a trap game, this is not going to be good. And then if Kansas City were to win, which they did against the Raiders, we'd be 1 game behind them already. And then we'd still have to face them the following week. And not only that, you're making these mistakes against Pittsburgh. You don't want to make these mistakes against Kansas City, because Kansas City isn't going to forgive you for it. They're not going to hold back. So it's 3rd and 10 on the Buffalo 2-yard line. And right before this play happens, my brother's wife's like, Mike, we're 34 seconds into the game. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is a horrible start. And all of a sudden, the 3rd play of the game, Allen completes a pass deep down the middle for Gabriel Davis for 98 yards, leads to a touchdown, 6-0 Buffalo. Tyler Bass kicks the extra point, it's good, now 7-0. And then Kyle looks at me and says, that's a good start. And we just started laughing, because it's like, here I am looking like a fucking idiot, saying what a horrible start, and then Allen just completes a pass for 98 yards. And I know we have Josh Allen, but sometimes it's hard to forget, watching the Bills for so long, you're like, oh, here we go. Plus the first half against Baltimore last week, you're like, here we fucking go. But then Allen completes a 98-yard touchdown. So 7-0 Buffalo. They kick the ball off for 45 yards, returned by James Pierre of the Steelers for no gain, because he fumbles the ball, which is recovered by Taron Johnson at the Pittsburgh 21-yard line. So Buffalo starts with the ball with 13:56 in the first quarter, and right away the Bills get the ball back, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a fucking game. Sure enough it was. But what a way to start. 98-yard touchdown and then a fumble recovery. Here I am saying not a good start, and then it ends up being like a great start. So Allen completes a short pass to the right for Devin Singletary for 4 yards. It's now 2nd and 6. Singletary runs up the middle for 8 yards, but there's offensive holding on the play by Ryan Bates, so it's a 10-yard loss. So it's 2nd and 16 now. And this has been a theme with the Bills so far this year, is where they do tend to shoot themselves in the foot. It's not good when the Bills are driving down the field and they make mistakes like this. They've done it quite a bit in these couple of games, whether it was LA, Tennessee, Baltimore, you name it. You have offensive holding or false start or encroachment on the defense, whatever it is. There are times the Bills this year shoot themselves in the foot. The only way the Bills are going to lose this year is if they lose to themselves. Because other than Kansas City, there's no other team that's on the Bills level right now. But for the most part, the Bills are going to lose if they beat themselves. And that was the case in Kansas City last year. And the year before that, the AFC Championship game, they beat themselves. And they lost the game. Buffalo's been able to beat Kansas City in Arrowhead before. The only way the Bills are going to lose games this year is if they beat themselves. Just remember that. Just remember that going forward. So Allen completes a short right pass to Stephon Diggs for a 4-yard loss, because it was a short pass. So now it's 3rd and 20. Allen, incomplete pass intended for Gabriel Davis. And then Tyler Bass goes to kick the field goal for 49 yards. It's no good because it's blocked by Cameron Hayward. This was another thing I was worried about, because last year on special teams, we were playing them in the home opener. Not only was Melvin Ingram and T.J. Watt bullying us, but on special teams, they had a blocked punt for a touchdown. So I was worried about the Pittsburgh special teams a little bit, not going to lie, just because of last year. Obviously, the Bills learned from their mistakes they have before in the past, and they've shown it. And I'm sure they learned from Pittsburgh, and I'm sure they didn't take Pittsburgh lightly going into this game, losing in the home opener last year in 2021. But it still was something to worry about. So it's no good, so Pittsburgh starts on the 39-yard line. Kenny Pickett's first drive, he completes a short right pass to Derek Watt for 1 yard. 2nd and 9. Najee Harris runs to the left for a 2-yard loss. 3rd and 11. A short right pass to George Pickens for the 12-yard gain. 1st and 10 of the Pittsburgh 50. Pickett completes a short left pass to Chase Claypool for 11 yards. First and 10 on the Buffalo 39-yard line. Najee Harris runs to the right for 6 yards. Second and 4. Pass incomplete intended for Deontay Johnson. Third and 4. Pickett throws a pass complete short left to Zach Gentry for 8 yards. First and 10. Pittsburgh's driving here. It's first and 10 on the Buffalo 25-yard line. Pickett completes a pass short right to George Pickens for a 12-yard gain. Tackled by Kyer Elam. They were picking on Elam in this game. Kyer Elam has so far had a really good rookie season, but he got picked on in this game by George Pickens, no pun intended, but he got picked on by Pickens and somewhat by Deontay Johnson. But Kyer Elam got picked on in this game. They worked him in this game, and hopefully it's not the same case in Kansas City. Although Tre'Davious White's starting to practice again, so he'll be back soon, which is a really good sign for the Bills. So it's first and 10 on the Buffalo 13. Najee Harris runs to the left for 3 yards. Second and 7. Najee Harris runs to the left again, this time tackled for a 1-yard loss. Third and 8. Pickett completes a pass short right to Deontay Johnson for 9 yards, but it's ruled an incomplete pass, so it's 4th and 8 on the Buffalo 11. You're playing Josh Allen. You would think we got to keep up with the score. Why not go for it? We're on the 11-yard line. It's still early in the game. Pittsburgh doesn't do that. They kick the 29-yard field goal, and that's one thing with Mike Tomlin is he's conservative. He's really conservative, and my brother and Kyle and Megan, they're Pittsburgh fans. I mean, Billy's more of a Bills fan, my brother, I would like to think. I mean, he grew up here. He also likes the Packers, not the point, but they were like, why is Tomlin kicking the field goal? Like, why didn't Tomlin go for it? And they say it later on too, and they said it throughout the game. Like they mentioned, we were talking about how like Tomlin was being conservative, and sure enough, they were talking about on the radio. Jeremy White was saying how Mike Tomlin will take field goals, punt the ball, run the ball, play defense, and that was what McDermott did in the AFC Championship game and lost the game like that. It's not that kind of league anymore, and honestly, I don't think Tomlin understands that. I don't think Bill Belichick understands that. These older coaches, I really don't think they understand it because it doesn't work anymore, and it's a 4-down league. If anybody proved it, it was Brandon Staley with the Chargers last year. I mean, the guy went for it on 4th down all the time. And when the Bills go for it on 4th down, it works. It's becoming a 4-down league with these offensive juggernauts. It's becoming a 4-down league. And if you don't get with the program and you're a running football team, you're really not going to last in this league. It's a passing league now. It's important to have a complementary running game with a good passing game, but if you don't have a passing game and you're just running the ball like the Bears or the Titans, you're not going to be in for a good ride here. The Titans got shit stomped playing that kind of style of offense against the Bills. And not only that, the Bills have to play the Bears this year. And just seeing the Bears on Thursday Night Football and watching the Bears all year and talking about them on a roundtable segments, they're not good. And Justin Fields doesn't look good. He's having a horrible sophomore slump season. He's having arguably one of the worst second-year seasons as a quarterback in NFL history. He's up there with J.P. Lossman and those guys who had horrible second-year seasons. So it's just not looking good for Justin Fields, given he doesn't have an offensive line or anybody to throw to. Not to mention it's a new fucking regime in Chicago, so they probably don't want him. So it's a mess over there. It's a mess over there for sure. But anyway, now Buffalo starts on their own 35-yard line after Boswell kicks the ball for 64 yards. Returned by Khalil Shakir for 34 yards. It was a nice return, and seeing this kid in person, you would think he's not that fast. Like, he's fast, but you're like, this guy's not like, obviously he's not Tyreek Hill, but you're like, this guy's not, one of the fast, quick receivers in the league. This guy can turn up the jets. Watch him in person, he goes from 0 to 60 fast. Like, like a fucking sports car, 0 to 60 in whatever point seconds, whatever you want to call it. But this kid can fucking turn on the jets, and he was fucking moving in this game, and he had a good game, stepping in as a rookie, and he played a huge role in this game for sure. Of being a 5th round pick out of Boise State, Shakir looks really good, and like I said in our draft video, this guy had the same athletic production as Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jahan Dotson, guys that all went in the 1st round. So I definitely think it was a steal for the Bills even at the time, and it looked like another Gabriel Davis pick. Gabriel Davis was taken in the 4th round in 2020 out of UCF. So I definitely think it was a good pick for the Bills. He'll definitely, as of right now, he looks like the future of this receiving core for sure. So, 1st and 10, Singletary runs to the left for no gain. 2nd and 10, Allen completes a pass deep down the middle for Khalil Shakir for a 31-yard gain. It's now 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 34-yard line. Allen scrambles to the left for 16 yards. Tackled by Cameron Sutton. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 18. Pass incomplete, intended for Stephon Diggs. 2nd and 10. Allen runs to the left for 1 yard. Tackled by Cameron Hayward. It's now 3rd and 9. Allen, incomplete pass, intended for Stephon Diggs. So it's 4th and 9 on the Pittsburgh 17. Tyler Bass comes out, field goal unit comes out. It's good this time, so it's 10-3 Buffalo. Given the Bills honestly probably could have gone for it, they just took the points there. Nothing wrong with that. And considering that you have a good chance against this Pittsburgh offense, it's not a bad idea to take a field goal. But like if you're playing Kansas City and you're on their 17, you on 4th and 9, go for it. When you're playing Kansas City next week, you better go for that, because you can't just take field goals against Kansas City. If you learned anything from the 2020 AFC Championship game, you're not fucking kicking field goals and you're not fucking punting it on 4th down, because that's what fucked them in 13 seconds. In the third quarter, when they punt the ball on 4th and 1 with Josh Allen as your quarterback, the Bills were chasing the rest of the fucking game. So you definitely can't do that against Kansas City. So Bass kicks the ball off for a touchback. It's now 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 25-yard line. Najee Harris runs to the right for 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Kenny Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Pat Freiermuth for no gain. There's a penalty on Zach Gentry for offensive holding, so it's a 10-yard loss. 2nd and 17 on the Pittsburgh 18. So it's now 2nd and 17 on the Pittsburgh 18-yard line. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Deontay Johnson for 11 yards. 3rd and 6 on the Pittsburgh 29. Kenny Pickett, incomplete pass to the middle intended for Deontay Johnson. So it's now 4th and 6. The Pittsburgh Steelers elect to punt. Presley Harvin punts the ball 69 yards down by Marcus Allen at the Buffalo 2-yard line. It was a fucking hell of a punt by Presley Harvin. So it's 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 2, but Deion Dawkins gets a false start penalty, so it's a 1-yard loss because, they're on the 2-yard line. So it's now 1st and 11 from the Buffalo 1. And this is what I mean by the Bills shooting themselves in the foot, because fucking, like, you're an offensive lineman. You're the left tackle, Dawkins. You're the left tackle. Like, you should know the snap count. So now you start on the 1 instead of the 2. Given neither spot's great, you're better off on the 2 than the 1-yard line. I'm just saying. So Zach Moss is out there, and I see that he's out there. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. They're gonna run it with Zach Moss. And it's going to be like a 2-yard game. Well, this time it was a 7 yard. So I'll give it to Zach Moss. It was a good run by him. But usually when he runs the ball, it's for a 2-yard or 3-yard gain or 1-yard gain. And I'm always like on here saying, why the fuck are we running with Zach Moss? But he got a 7-yard gain. So it's now on the Buffalo 8-yard line. Got some room to work with, thank God. And 2nd and 4, Allen, pass incomplete, intended for Stephon Diggs. 3rd and 4, Allen, complete pass to Isaiah Hodgins for 26 yards. If Stephon Diggs would have caught that ball, that would have been a touchdown, by the way. If Levi Wallace didn't get his hand in there, that would have been a touchdown. All day. So it's 1st and 10 now from the Buffalo 34-yard line. Allen, incomplete pass intended for Quentin Morris. 2nd and 10, James Cook runs to the left for a 1-yard loss. I was kind of shocked to see James Cook out there that early in the game. I was shocked, to say the least. Allen plays a short right pass to Quentin Morris for 26 yards. So it's now 1st and 10 after it being 3rd and 11. Cook runs to the right for 2 yards. 2nd and 8. Allen completes a pass short to the middle for Stephon Diggs for 18 yards. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 21-yard line. Allen throws a pass deep to the right side for Gabriel Davis, but it's intercepted by Levi Wallace in the end zone, return for no gain. Allen should have fucking looked at the inside shoulder. Kyle and I were talking about this. He should have thrown to the inside shoulder, but he threw the outside. I don't blame Allen for taking the deep shot there, because he likes to do that, and he has a fucking rocket of an arm throwing to his boy Davis, but in this case, it gets intercepted. I would rather have Buffalo shoot themselves in the foot like this against Pittsburgh. I really would, because if you do this against Kansas City, Mahomes is going to drive down the field. Like, that. But I was getting nervous, though, because this is now another drive where the Bills could have a touchdown. Like the last drive, they got just the field goal, but this time it's an interception, so you get no points. So it's 10-3. Pittsburgh at this point is still in the game. Like, we're keeping Pittsburgh in the game by making these mistakes, and that's what I was worried about. I'm like, we can't keep this team in the game, because it's like, yeah, obviously Pittsburgh is a shell of its former self. Obviously Roethlisberger's gone, and Antonio Brown's been gone, and all those guys are gone, but it's still Pittsburgh. They're still coached by Mike Tomlin, who's a good head coach for the most part, despite the conservative style of play that I'd never agree with. I don't care how good you are as a head coach. Even McDermott does it, and it drives me fucking crazy. Like, you can't be conservative in this league, but you still can't keep Pittsburgh in the game. You can't do this with any team. You can't. So now it's 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 20, since it was a touchback after Levi intercepted the pass from Allen. Of course, it's a former Bill, too, of course. Regardless, Najee Harris runs up the middle on 1st and 10 for 6 yards. 2nd and 4. Najee Harris runs to the left for no gain. 3rd and 4. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Najee Harris for 2 yards. 4th and 2. Pittsburgh punts for 34 yards. It's a fair catch by Khalil Shakir at the Buffalo 38-yard yard line. This, just like I was saying in the week 2 or week 3 roundtable, this is the problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense right here. And a lot of the Steelers fans are calling for Matt Canada's head, because I don't blame him, because he's not a good play caller whatsoever. The guy's bounced around from college program to college program to college program, and I think he's bounced around a couple NFL teams too. But this is the problem. Run, short pass, punt right here. This is a perfect example of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And even if you want to take another shot here at the Denver Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett used to be the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, and given our offense, I mean, we were the poverty Bills at this time, 2013, 2014 with Doug Merle. We really were the poverty Bills. That's what me and my friends would always say all the time, because we were a poverty franchise. We were, absolutely. We've come a long way. But even after Nathaniel Hackett, like Greg Roman with the Rex Ryan era, I mean, it was run, pass, run, pass, or run, short pass, or we run like QB draws with Tyrod Taylor for like 2 or 3 games. Like, this shit drives me fucking crazy, because it's like you guys call yourselves professionals, like the coaches, and you're calling run, pass. And I understand Madden's a video game, but I've never watched nobody on Madden call run, pass and then punt. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing it out there. Not even a 12-year-old on Madden would call run, pass. It's just the dumbest shit, and it drives me fucking crazy. Anyway, it's 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 38. First play of the drive, and only play of the drive. Allen completes a deep pass down the middle for Gabriel Davis for a 62-yard touchdown. Bass kicks the extra point. It's good. 17-3 Buffalo. Just like that, Buffalo's back on the board. Just like that, because of the Pittsburgh Steelers' incompetent offense. Just like that. And I'm sure if you're a Steelers fan, that had to piss you off right there. You go run, pass. Allen gets the ball back, throws a deep pass right away, gets a touchdown. So Pittsburgh starts on the 25-yard line. It's another touchback by Tyler Bass, because the kid has a boot of a leg. I mean, just one of the top kickers in the league right now. Can't even debate me on it. So with 1st and 10, Najee Harris runs up the middle for 1 yard. 2nd and 9, Najee Harris runs up the middle for 1 yard. 3rd and 8, Pickett, incomplete pass intended for Deontay Johnson. Pittsburgh punts, 3 and out, just like that. It's a 26-yard punt by Presley Harvin, downed by Miles Boykin. This, again, run, pass. Or run, incompletion, punt. Every time Najee Harris ran with the ball, the Bills were just saying thank you. Oh, thank you, because he wasn't doing anything at all in that game. And not to mention, even when the Bills run formations in the run game, I mean, the run game is so predictable it's so predictable to predict like they're gonna run it, because Pittsburgh would take out Deontay Johnson, they take out George Pickens, and they would put Steve Sims out there, and I think even they put maybe like Zach Gentry out there as a run blocker. I forget who the other receiver was, but they put their backup receivers out there, or even a backup tight end, and they take out their starters, and they'd have Najee Harris run. And then when they wouldn't run, Najee Harris would be off the field. You'd have Claypool out there, you'd have Pickens, Deontay Johnson out there, and you'd have Jalen Warren in the backfield. You knew they were going to pass it then, and not to mention they were in the shotgun. Like, it's so predictable. It was so predictable. I mean, I'd be screaming, they're going to run, they're going to pass it, and sure enough, they would every time, because it was so predictable. And if I could predict that, being a fan in the stands, never being an NFL head coach, I would think that McDermott and Dorsey and all of them would be like, or even Leslie Frazier would all be like, yeah, they're doing this, and they're doing that, they're doing that, and they're doing this. Like, it was that fucking easy to fucking figure out the Pittsburgh offense just because of how bad it is. They really are shell themselves. They really are. Did Kenny Pickett look horrible? No, he really didn't. But they really are a former shell of themselves. It showed in this game for sure. So it's 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 47-yard line after a muffed punt by Harvin for only 26 yards, or a whiff, or whatever you want to call it. Singletary in the first play runs to the left for a 23-yard gain. It's 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 30. It's a penalty on Miles Jack for unnecessary roughness, so add 15 yards to that. So instead of it being on the 30, it's now on the Pittsburgh 15. Allen completes a short left pass to Stephon Diggs for a 15-yard touchdown. Bass kicks the extra point, and it's good. It's 24-3 Buffalo. Because of 2 drives by the Pittsburgh offense, which is run, pass, run, incompletion, both times Buffalo puts points on the board. It's been a problem for Pittsburgh all season long, and it's going to continue to be. They're playing Tampa Bay. They're going to play Philadelphia. They got a tough schedule this year, and Deshaun Watson's going to come back in that division. They got to play the Ravens with Lamar. And if, the Bengals can figure it out, then Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, they're going to be dangerous again. So Pittsburgh's got a lot of work cut out for them. So Tyler Bass kicks another touchback. It's 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 25. Pickett completes a short right pass to George Pickens for 10 yards. 1st and 10. Pickett completes a pass short left to Zach Gentry for 11 yards. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 46. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for Najee Harris. 2nd and 10. Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Deontay Johnson for 5 yards. 3rd and 5. Pickett, pass complete to George Pickens deep to the left for 29 yards. Tackled by Kyrie Elam. They were going at Elam all day. They went for him when Deontay Johnson was on him. They went for him when George Pickens was on him. Even Claypool. I mean, when Claypool was out to the outside, not just in the slot. They were going after Elam all day. They wouldn't even go after Dane Jackson. So, honestly, respect to Dane Jackson for doing his job because he had a good game. Kyrie Elam, though, I mean, not so much. But they're going to pick on the rookie every time. I mean, every offensive coordinator, offensive-minded head coach is going to do that. So, 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 20-yard line. Jalen Warren runs to the left for 1 yard. 2nd and 9. Pickett, incomplete pass deep to the right intended for Deontay Johnson. 3rd and 9. Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Freiermuth for 4 yards. 4th and 5. On the Buffalo 15, you're down 24-3. What did the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to do? They obviously don't go for it. 33-yard field goal by Chris Boswell, it's no good. And again, Billy and Kyle were like, why didn't he go for it? Like, why is he kicking the field goal? Like, you're an idiot. And sure enough, it wasn't even good. So now Buffalo starts on the 23. Allen completes a short right pass to Stephon Diggs for 3 yards. Next play, Allen completes a short left pass to Khalil Shakir for 20 yards. 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 46. They're already driving back down the field. Allen, incomplete pass intended for Khalil Shakir. 2nd and 10. Allen completes a short pass down the middle for Quentin Morris for 13 yards. And I will say this, I know Quentin Morris is the backup tight end, but when he catches the ball and Allen throws bullets down the field, it's a fast ball, it's a hard ball, he snags them right out of the air, just like Khalil Shakir does. Just like I saw Khalil Shakir in the scrimmage, he would snag the ball out of the air. Quentin Morris does the same thing. So kudos to Chad Hall, the receivers coach. I'm sure he was probably helping out the tight ends too. I mean, kudos to him for like teaching these guys, like, or even the tight ends coach, for being like, hey, when you catch that ball by Josh, snag it. Like, you got to snag it out of the air. Because that's a smart fucking move, honestly. Because if you don't, snag it out of the air, the defense definitely has a chance to bobble the pass or deflect it or, try to pick it off, whatever. It's nice to see these guys snagging the ball out of the air, being aggressive, coming down with it, holding onto the ball. That's what you want. That's what you want from your offense. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 41. Allen completes a short pass down the middle to Stephon Diggs for 12 yards. It's 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 29-yard line. Allen scrambles to the right for 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Allen, incomplete pass deep to the right intended for Quentin Morris. It's now 3rd and 5 on the Pittsburgh 24. Allen takes the snap, completes the pass deep to the left for Khalil Shakir for a 24-yard touchdown. Bass kicks the extra point. It's good. It's now 31-3 Buffalo. And man, oh man, this game's getting away from Pittsburgh fast because Mike Tomlin was being conservative and Matt Canada was not calling good plays on offense. Did Pittsburgh have a chance? Not at all. I mean, they really didn't. They're outmatched just on paper alone against the Bills. But like I said, in a way, it kind of felt like a trap game. It was possible for the Bills to lose this one. I mean, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, 9-7, I believe it was. And that whole offense couldn't get anything going that whole day. And Shaquem Griffin was like, they just didn't look like they were locked in on the sideline during pregame warmups. It was possible. The Bills can be like, oh, it's just the Steelers. Like, we got Kansas City next week, and then we're going to the bye. Like, they could have done that. They really could have. And, I mean, you see these guys singing in the locker room and kind of fucking around. I mean, they're a team, though. Like, you can't just be all serious all the fucking time because fucking Belichick and even when Gruden was on the Raiders just being serious all the time, like, players wanted to get the fuck out of there. They're like, get me out of here. So, like, you got to have fun as your teammates, but you're also like, well, what if these guys aren't taking like the game serious and shit, like leading up to it? Sure enough, that wasn't a problem. Like the Bills are fucking just blowing out the Steelers as of this moment in the play-by-play here on ProFootballReference.com. But I still have my concerns going into it, and not to mention I woke up and I had a dream that it was not the Steelers, it was the Ravens, but the Bills lost to the Ravens. I don't know why it was the Ravens. I don't even know, but I was out with some friends in like this dream at a bar, and then like they lost, and I woke up and I was like, oh my god, if they lose today, I swear to god. But that didn't happen, obviously. So Bass kicks the ball for 57 yards. It's returned by Steven Sims for a 19-yard gain. So it's Pittsburgh 27-yard line. 1st and 10. Pickett completes a short right pass to Najee Harris for 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Kenny Pickett is sacked by Gregory Rousseau for no gain. But there's a penalty on Von Miller for defensive offside for 5 yards, so it's accepted. So it's 1st and 10. Bills shoot themselves in the foot once again. Pickett completes a pass deep to the left intended for Deontay Johnson, but it's intercepted by Kyrie Elam, so they bounce back after a defensive offside, return for no gain. Given that Elam was getting picked on, he got an interception, so kudos to him for that. So it's 1st and 10, 15 seconds left in the second quarter. There's a penalty on Stephon Diggs for a false start. 1st and 15. Allen throws a pass incomplete for Gabriel Davis. So Allen kneels. Offense goes into the fucking tunnel. It's 31-3 at the half. What a fucking hell of a first half for the Buffalo Bills. This was honestly the game right here, because in the second half, Buffalo did get another touchdown. But, I mean, this was basically the game right here. The game was already over. The game really was over. Now, if Pittsburgh was a better team, I'd say then don't, like, let up. But, I mean, it was nice to, like, watch this game in person and, like, know we had a comfortable lead. Because we did. We had a comfortable fucking lead going into the second half, and that's what you wanted. And you wanted to see big plays when you go to the games. You want to see big plays. You want to see your offense drive down the field. You want to see your defense play clutch. And, you know, we got those big offensive plays early on. And even my dad got to see it, which was nice before he had to leave after the first half. But, you know, it was nice that he hopefully got to see that. And, you know, we're certainly enjoying ourselves, except for Megan, who was a diehard Yinzer Steelers fan, but she was wearing Bills colors, and she was acting like she was in Rome, which was funny. But I think she definitely had fun. She was telling me to vlog and do stuff, and honestly, I probably should have, but I don't have the kind of I guess expertise in the vlogging field. Well, maybe we'll get that together for the Green Bay game. I don't know yet, but certainly not my expertise as of right now. But maybe we'll, you know, take a couple videos and post them on here or TikTok, or we're, you know, maybe on Twitter. We're on Twitter now, so maybe we'll do something like that. Who knows? We'll see. But it was a fun game. It was a fun game for sure, and I'm glad I went. And it certainly was a great way to kick off the week. It was certainly a great way to start my week, because I've always said it even since I was a kid. I was like, when the Bills win, it's a great week. When the Bills lose, it's not a good week. And I remember when I first was watching the Bills and they weren't good, I would come in every single Monday. I'd wear this Bills youth Fred Jackson jersey, and I'd always be telling my teacher, like, oh, we lost, and like, she's like, I know. And like, it was just, you know, I got made fun of for being a Bills fan when growing up. I definitely did, because everybody else in our school would always wear Adrian Peterson, or, you know, you'd see the bandwagon Patriots fans or whoever. But I was the loyal fan all the way through, still am. But I just think all the time, like, the Bills have just come such a long way. They've come such a long way. And I honestly think everybody in this fan base knows that, and I certainly think that nobody here is going to take that for granted, because I'm certainly not, because there are times where I still will be like, oh my fucking god, like in the beginning of the game, I'm like, this is not a good start, because it's like, I know we have Josh Allen, I understand that, I know we have Josh Allen, I know we have Stephon Diggs, I know we have Gabriel Davis, I know we have a young guy in Khalil Shakir, I know we have Dawson Knox, but I'm still going to have my concerns going into the game. I'm still going to say, hey, like, just, you know, now next week here, or this coming Sunday, we got to play Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I have my concerns, even though they got rid of Tyreek Hill. Like, we still have to find a way to stop Travis Kelce, especially when Kansas City's in the red zone. And they have fast running backs and fast receivers. It is a fucking track meet over there. So it's going to be a fucking shootout, definitely. It's definitely going to be a shootout, and there can't be any mistakes. There has to be little to no error in that game, because if there is not, it's going to cost the Bills. And if the Bills lose this game against Kansas City, it is going to be not good, because it could fucking be for the number one AFC, or the number one seed in the AFC come December. You know, we're getting through October here. We're halfway through October already, which is crazy to fucking say, because I'm still fucking coping with 2020 and it's almost 2023. Not the point, but we're halfway through October. Before you know, it's going to be November, and then it's going to be December, and then it's going to be playoffs, and then we're going to be watching the Super Bowl, whoever's in it. Hopefully it's the Bills. Not the point. Hopefully it's the Bills. But we're going to, before you know it, in the blink of an eye, the season's going to be over. I mean, we're already about to be in week 6. It was just week 1. We were just watching the kickoff game against the Rams, and now it's week 6 already. Like, this season, it's still a long season, but it is flying, man. And just a couple weeks here, it's going to be the trade deadline for the NFL. So we're flying by here. We're definitely flying by here. And, you know, now we got hockey season going too. Sabres just won their, you know, home opener. Or Sabres are playing their home opener, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about the preview in this one, and then we'll talk about the post game in the next video. So it's definitely going to be interesting going forward here for sure. So, start of the second half, Tyler Bass kicks it off for a touchback since Pittsburgh won the coin toss and they elected to defer. They start with the ball. It's 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 25-yard line. Pickett completes a pass deep to the right for Deontay Johnson for 23 yards, tackled by Dane Jackson. 1st and 10, Najee Harris runs up the middle for 3 yards. 2nd and 7, Pickett's pass is incomplete, short to the left, intended for Deontay Johnson. Penalty on Kyer Elam for defensive pass interference. So it's 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 42. Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Najee Harris for 9 yards. 2nd and 1, Pickett completes another 9-yard pass to Chase Claypool. 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 24-yard line. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Deontay Johnson for 7 yards. 2nd and 3. Kenny Pickett is sacked by Tyrell Dodson for a 3-yard loss. So it's a 3rd and 6 play. So it's 3rd and 6. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for George Pickens. It's 4th and 6 on the Buffalo 20-yard line. Pickett elects to go for it. The pass is incomplete, intended for Deontay Johnson. So this time, now that it's 31-3, now Pittsburgh decides to go for it and have a set of balls, and it doesn't work out for them. It doesn't go their way. It's now 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 20-yard line because of turnover on downs. Singletary runs to the right for an 8-yard gain. 2nd and 2 on the Buffalo 28-yard line. Allen completes a pass short to the right for Gabriel Davis for 11 yards. 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 39-yard line. Singletary runs to the right for a 6-yard gain. 2nd and 4, Allen completes a pass, 2nd and 4, Allen, incomplete pass intended for Khalil Shakir. 3rd and 4, Allen scrambles to the right for a 21 yards. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 34-yard line. Allen completes a pass short to the right for Stephon Diggs for 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Allen completes another pass to Stephon Diggs for 12 yards. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 17-yard line. Singletary runs to the right for 5 yards. 2nd and 5 on the Pittsburgh 12. Allen completes a pass short to the left for Isaiah Hodgins for a 7-yard gain. 1st and 5. Allen, incomplete pass intended for Gabriel Davis, but there's defensive pass interference. Since we're on the 5-yard line, it's only a 4-yard penalty. 1st and 1 on the Pittsburgh 1-yard line. Allen completes a pass to Quentin Morris. That should have been a touchdown, but it's fumbled by Quentin Morris. Recovered by Josh Jackson in the end zone. Tackled by Miles Jack and Cameron Hayward. So Pittsburgh gets the ball back after a Buffalo mishap. It's 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 20. It's as if they recover, it's a touchback, basically. Pickett starts with the ball now. With 5:19 to go in the third quarter, it's still 31-3 Buffalo. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for George Pickens for 10 yards. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 30. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Pickens once again for another 10-yard gain. So it's 1st and 10 on the 40-yard line for Pittsburgh now. Pickett sacked by Von Miller for a 6-yard loss. 2nd and 6. 2nd and 16. On the Pittsburgh 34, Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Pat Freiermuth for 8 yards. 3rd and 8. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Chase Claypool for 20 yards. 3rd and long philosophy again, biting the Bills in the ass. Could have stopped them right there, but what are you going to do? 1st and 10, Buffalo 38. Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Deontay Johnson for 14 yards. 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 24. Najee Harris runs to the right for no gain. 2nd and 10. Pickett scrambles for a 10-yard gain. There's a penalty on James Daniels for unnecessary roughness, so it's a 15-yard penalty. So it's 3rd and 15. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Zach Gentry for 7 yards. 4th and 8 with 12 seconds to go. There's a penalty on Dan Moore for a false start for 5 yards. So it's 4th and 13. So Chris Boswell kicks the field goal, which is no good again, instead of going for it. So once again, Pittsburgh does not get points on the board. So to start the fourth quarter, 15 minutes left in the game, Allen completes a pass short to the middle for Stephon Diggs for 41 yards. 1st and 10 on the Pittsburgh 14. On the Pittsburgh 24-yard line, James Cook runs up the middle for a 24-yard touchdown. James Cook's first touchdown of the season. Bass kicks the extra point. It's good. It's 38-3 Buffalo. And this is what I mean. You know, use James Cook, get this kid going, give him some reps in these games. And now that he gets one here in the fourth quarter, you know, you're up big. You know, we start using more of the backups here now. He gets a nice touchdown run. And they said he had a good week in practice. And I was talking to Billy about this, and they were saying, he was telling me how Cook's not making the right reads in practice. He's not understanding the playbook properly. So it was definitely what it seems like it was a practice issue, and they talked about this on the radio as well on the morning show with Howard and Jeremy. They talked about this, and they were saying how, like, you know, McDermott doesn't explain much to you. He really doesn't. He tends to keep everything private within the organization, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. To keep your shit with you. Keep an eye on your own business. Like, don't let stuff get out that doesn't need to get out. You don't want to tell people James Cook's not making the right reads in practice and shit on, in these press conferences, because then everyone's going to wonder, well, what's wrong with James Cook? And then all this speculation and bullshit's going to come out, and you don't need that kind of distraction for your team in your locker room. This is what I was saying last week. You have to utilize your draft capital. You spend a second round pick on this guy. Running backs don't have a lot of life in the NFL anymore. You got to use them, and it was nice to see them finally start using him. And they used him early in the game, too. He didn't do much, but it's nice to see them use him in this game more than anything. So, Pittsburgh starts on the 25-yard line after Tyler Bass has a 65-yard touchback once again, because the kid is just a clutch kicker. So, first and 10 on the 25-yard line for Pittsburgh. Pickett completes a pass to the left for Jalen Warren for 10 yards. First and 10 on the Pittsburgh 35. Warren runs to the right for 1 gain. Second and 9. Warren runs to the left for 10 yards. First and 10 on the Pittsburgh 46. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Jalen Warren for 12 yards. Warren is the whole Pittsburgh offense on this drive as of this moment. First and 10. Pickett completes a pass short to the middle for Chase Claypool for 6 yards. Do you remember when Chase Claypool said he was a top receiver? Yeah, that's not going so well for Claypool. It was really not. Dude thought he was this shit after his rookie year, and he's just kind of fallen off a cliff since. Probably misses Juju Smith-Schuster, honestly. And all that dancing on TikTok. Second and 4. Pickett completes a pass short to the left for Zach Gentry for 6 yards. First and 10. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for Chase Claypool. Second and 10. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for George Pickens. Third and 10. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for Deontay Johnson. Fourth and 10. Pickett, incomplete pass to the right intended for Chase Claypool. Turnover on downs on the Buffalo 30-yard line. That has to be frustrating if you're a fucking Steelers fan. Incompletion, 4 times in a row. And if you're Kenny Pickett, that's got to be frustrating too. So, fourth quarter, 10 minutes and 16 seconds to go. Backups are in. Case Keenum's on the field. Allen's off. Diggs is out. Davis is out. Gentry, Hodgins, Quentin Morris, James Cook, Zach Moss, all the backups are in. Once again, it only took Josh Allen really 3 quarters. I guess you could count the fourth quarter because at the start, but really it took Josh Allen, honestly, even just the first half to be done with the football game because he's just that good. James Cook, first and 10 of the Buffalo 30, runs to the left for a 6-yard gain. Second and 4, Case Keenum, incomplete pass intended for Tanner Gentry, which, by the way, Tanner Gentry played with Allen in Wyoming. I wonder if maybe we'll ever get to see Allen and Gentry, get at least 1 touchdown together while he's here. Third and 4, Keenum completes a pass short to the left for Isaiah Hodgins for 3 yards. Sam Martin punts. The Bills punt for the first time in this game, and the fans were booing when they were punting, which honestly, I understand it. You want them to get more points, but you have Case Keenum out there. It's not like you have Allen out there anymore throwing darts down the field. But I honestly think McDermott did that just because he has respect for Mike Tomlin, because if it was Bill Belichick, he would have ran it down the field. He would have ran it down his throat the whole game. I feel like that was just kind of like a respect thing, where it's like, I'm already up. I'm already beating you. It is what it is. That kind of thing. I'm already up all these points. I have my backups in. I'm just going to punt the ball away and let my defense play and get more reps on defense. Because McDermott's a defensive coach. He's a defensive guy. That's how he's always been. He always has faith in his defense. He's always investing in his defense in the draft and free agency, you name it. If he could play defense the whole time, I feel like McDermott rather would. Not that he shouldn't play Allen, obviously, but I feel like if he just had to play one or the other, he would rather just play defense. The dude is a defensive-minded head coach. He was a defensive coordinator with the Carolina Panthers back when they were on their crazy run to the Super Bowl. I mean, this guy knows success. This guy knows how to, develop on defense, and he probably wants to get reps for his backups, and he wants to see who's who, especially in game time. So Pickett, 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line for Pittsburgh. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for Zach Gentry. Jalen Warren runs to the right for no gain on 2nd and 10. 3rd and 10, incomplete pass intended for Chase Claypool. 4th and 10, Pittsburgh punts. Presley Harvin, a 34-yard punt down by Christian Kuntz. Christian Kuntz. I think that's how you say it. I'd never heard of the guy. 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 46-yard line. Case Keenum, incomplete pass intended for Isaiah Hodgins. 2nd and 10. Keenum completes a pass to the right for Isaiah Hodgins for 5 yards. 3rd and 5. Keenum, incomplete pass intended for Isaiah Hodgins. 4th and 5. Sam Martin punts for 49 yards and a touchback. 1st and 10. Pickett, incomplete pass short to the right intended for Jalen Warren. 2nd and 10. Pickett completes a pass to Connor Hayward for 7 yards. Pickett, 3rd and 3. Completes a pass short to the right for Connor Hayward for 5 yards. So it's 1st and 10. There's a penalty on Chase Claypool for a false start, so it's 5 yards. So it's now 1st and 15. Kenny Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Jalen Warren for 13 yards. 2nd and 2. Jalen Warren runs to the right for 12-yard gain. 1st and 10. Pickett completes a pass short to the right for Jalen Warren for 4 yards. Kenny Pickett completes his pass short to the middle for Zach Gentry for 11 yards on 2nd and 6. 1st and 10 on the Buffalo 33. Pickett completes a short right pass to Miles Boykin for 11 yards. 1st and 10. Kenny Pickett, pass complete short to the right for Chase Claypool for 4 yards. 2nd and 6. Pickett, incomplete pass intended for Chase Claypool. 3rd and 6. Kenny Pickett is sacked by A.J. Epinesa for an 8-yard loss. Epinesa gets kicked out of the game after this because there was a scuffle after this. Shaq Lawson gets kicked out of the game. Epinesa gets kicked out because the ref pushes him, and he's like, he thought it was another Steelers player, so he touched the ref, and then the Zebra got all pissed off, and he got in his face. In all honesty, not that, like, players and referees should be fighting, obviously, but, like, I don't know why that Zebra was getting so upset. Like, Epinesa will whoop your fucking ass, dude. Like, I don't know why he was trying to act like he's tough shit. Like, it just kind of was annoying. But whatever. He was hot. He was fired up. I don't know why. Dude was being a fucking pussy. Like, I don't know. 4th and 14. Pickett, incomplete pass short to the right. It doesn't say on here who it was intended for, though. I don't know why. It just says Kenny Pickett, pass incomplete short to the right. It doesn't say why or who on 4th and 14. And then there was the little scrummish too. Oh. Okay, I mentioned the Epinesa thing 2 plays earlier, but it's fine. So this is when... So after this incompletion is when it happened. That's my bad. So it happened after the incompletion. So Epinesa got disqualified. It was a 15-yard penalty. And, you know, I saw Shaq Lawson leaving the game too. I saw him leaving the game with a minute left, even though it's not on here. So we got kicked out too. And Shaq Lawson, he got into a fight with Leonard Fournette a couple years ago. I mean, the dude gets hot too. But I like having Shaq Lawson on this team as a run stuffer. Obviously, he didn't really work out here as a first-round pick in 2016 when he got drafted. But he's a good run stuffer. He's good at stopping the run. So I see why they brought him back. But, I mean, he tackled him low, but Pickett was out of the pocket. So it was legal. It was legal. Obviously, though, I know if we were Bills fans, we'd be getting pissed off. And be like, what the fuck if that was on Allen? I understand that. I didn't like earlier in the game when Allen ran and Cameron Hayward hit him and Allen's back of his head hit the turf. I didn't like that. That was like kind of like what happened to Tua, so I got a little concerned there. But, like, you didn't hear Bills fans complaining about that, as far as I saw. You didn't hear them complaining about that, but Steelers fans were crying and moaning about that. I understand hitting low isn't okay. It's kind of unnecessary when you hit that low. I get that. And, you know, if it looked like it hurt, I'd be like, what the fuck, Shaq? But, like, Kenny Pickett got right back up, bro. Like, you were fine. He was just being a fucking pussy. I'm sorry. Like, he got right back up. Like, I would understand if, you know, he was down for a second. But, like, bro, come on. Like, I think he was just frustrated because he was losing and nothing was going right. That I understand. from a human perspective, I get that. I'd be pissed off too. No, I really would be. I mean, there was a minute left. Should Shaq really have hit that low? Probably fucking not. But, like, bro got right back up. So it's like, dude, you're not even hurt. Like, stop being a pussy. I don't know. But Case Keenum got the ball back. He kneeled it twice. The game was over. Bills win 38-3. 4-1 on the season for the Bills. Basically the number one seed in the AFC as of right now. Obviously, they're tied for first with the Steelers for the number one AFC, or the number one seed in the AFC at 4-1. Pittsburgh drops to 1-4 on what's going to be a long season for them as they play Tampa Bay this week. They'll play Philly later on. Honestly, it looks like the Steelers are going to be 4-13 this year looking at their schedule. If I was them, I would just try to develop Pickett this year. It's going to be a rough rookie year, but you're not going back to Trubisky at this point, even though I figured you're better off just leaving Pickett on the bench and letting him develop because there's no point in throwing him to the fire. But they chose to do that, so be it. So now that Trubisky's not your option anymore, I mean, he did play it too safe. He really did. But he didn't play, or he didn't look that bad when he was on our team. I know he didn't do much, but he really didn't look that bad on our team. So I feel like that's also a philosophy issue, especially with Matt Canada being the offensive coordinator at Pittsburgh. But at this point, if you're the Steelers, develop Pickett. He has weapons. Develop Pickett. Start fucking scouting offensive linemen. Look to see who's free agents at the offensive line. Upgrade the offensive line. Continue to add and provide for Kenny Pickett. Fix the defense. Have TJ Watt get healthy. And just figure out what you need to do to get that defense right. Because they're, like, apparently the most expensive defense in football right now. They're not playing like it. They gave up 38 to Buffalo. Josh Allen torched them all day. The Steelers need to find a legit corner. I think they need to find out a lockdown corner. They need to find one. They have Minka Fitzpatrick, but Terrell Edmonds was out for this game, but they need to find a strong safety. They need to upgrade their secondary besides Minka Fitzpatrick. I think they need to work on that D-line, because without TJ Watt, they're nothing on that D-line. Cameron Hayward's old. They need to find a legit middle linebacker. Devin Bush doesn't look like he's the guy. So the Steelers have their work cut out for them. Mike Tomlin's also never had a losing season, so we'll see just how well or just how horrible this goes, because Mike Tomlin has that fucking pixie dust when he just ends up finding ways to win out of nowhere. So maybe the Steelers end up going 8-9 or 9-8. You never fucking know. But it seems like really Mike Tomlin's not going to be above 500 this year for the first time in his career. And I see Pittsburgh fans, I see Yinzers are calling for his head. And it's like, who are you guys going to fucking hire? I understand Tomlin's conservative. I know that. We talked about that. And that's a problem. But other than that, he's been a pretty good head coach for them. He's never had a losing fucking season. He was in the playoffs last year with old Ben Roethlisberger. Like, Ben Roethlisberger should have retired like 3 years ago. Like in 2019, he should have retired that year. But he was able to still win with him after 2020. He was in the playoffs last year, given they didn't do anything. But it's still impressive that Mike Tomlin was able to do that. At the end of the day, I think that comes down to coaching. But it seems like Kenny Pickett's not that bad. If they develop him properly, he'll definitely be their answer at quarterback. I don't know if Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick, or if that was just because of the fact that, you know, he's played at Pitt, local boy. The Steelers made the mistake with Dan Marino by not drafting him, so they want to make it right by drafting Kenny Pickett. I don't know if he actually was considered a first-round talent. I did like him coming out of Pitt, though. It's nice to see him, you know, having a homecoming with the Steelers. It definitely could be a Cinderella story in the league, you know, in the future. So I don't think Pickett's the problem. I think they need an offensive coordinator. They need to fucking fix their team up. And the Bills, on their side, they need to stop shooting themselves in the foot. The Deion Dawkins false start. The Stephon Diggs false start. You know, or whether it was in Tennessee even, when Jordan Phillips had an encroachment call. Like, it's just spitballing. But the Bills need to stop shooting themselves in the foot. Because when it comes time to play Kansas City, you can't be fumbling on the 1 yard line. You can't be throwing interceptions. because Mahomes will drive down the field. I know he doesn't have Tyreek Hill anymore, but it's still Patrick Mahomes. And they are a track meet in Kansas City. They have Juju Smith-Schuster. They have Mecole Hardman, who's made plays against the Bills. Marquez Valdes-Scantling's fast. Sky Moore's a rookie, but he's fast. They haven't used him that much, though. Drake McKinnon's fast. Isaiah Pacheco it looks like he's a good runner for them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a good pass-catching back. So they have weapons still. You're playing Pat Mahomes, and you're playing Travis Kelce, who's the best tight end in football still. You got to be ready for this team. And Andy Reid doesn't fuck around. Given that the Kansas City defense isn't good, and hopefully the Bills can exploit that, but they still have Chris Jones. They have Justin Reed at safety. If Trent McDuffie comes back healthy, that's going to be huge for them. So it's going to be a fucking game. And the Bills better be ready for it. I definitely think they will be. They definitely circled it on their calendar when that fucking schedule came out. You know they did. After 13 seconds, you know they fucking did. Alright, let's get into some fucking stats here. So Allen goes 20 of 31 for 424. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, QBR of 134.1. Hell of a day for Josh Allen. Having an MVP season, honestly. I think he's a front runner for MVP right now. If it's not Mahomes, it's definitely Allen. It's one of the two are going to get it this year. It's not going to be Rodgers. It's not going to be Brady. Keenum was only 2 of 5 for 8 yards. But he just came in to relieve Allen. Singletary had 6 attempts rushing for 42 yards. James Cook had 4 attempts rushing for 31 yards and a touchdown. Gabe Davis, 3 receptions, 171 for 2 touchdowns. Randy Moss stat line. Diggs, 8 receptions for 102 yards and 1 touchdown. Randy Moss stat line right there. Diggs and Davis is the best duo in the fucking league right now for receivers. They're the best duo in the league for receivers, and it's not even close. It's not even fucking close. Khalil Shakir, the rookie, 3 receptions, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. Hell of a fucking day for the rookie. Hell of a fucking day. And honestly, he could win the fucking starting job for slot receiver. Like, how do you not play Khalil Shakir after that game? I know Isaiah McKenzie's going to come back healthy this week, but how do you not play Shakir after that? I'm just saying. Isaiah Hodgins came in to relieve Jake Kumerow, excuse me. He came in to relieve Jake Kumerow. Plus, Jameson Crowder's out for a while. He had 4 receptions for 41 yards. Quentin Morris had 3 receptions Quentin Morris had 3 receptions for 39 yards, relieving Dawson Knox. So these backups ain't bad, bro. These backups are not bad. The Bills really are showing why they're the most complete team in the NFL. We talked about it all offseason. They have the most completely built roster in the league. And they're continuing to show why they're the front runner for the Super Bowl. I mean, it's obvious. So far, the Bills have beat every team that they faced last year they lost to. Tennessee, they whooped them. They whooped the Pittsburgh Steelers. They beat the LA Rams at home on their Super Bowl banner night, 31-10 in the opener. They almost beat Miami. They were this close in a fucking ugly-ass hot weather game that was just uncomfortable to watch. They almost beat them. If Allen wasn't gassed from the fucking weather and shit and didn't throw a dud to Isaiah McKenzie, or McKenzie ran out of bounds and we got another playoff, the Bills almost won that game. The Bills could be undefeated, but they're not. But Miami's dropped the last 2 games since they beat Buffalo. So Buffalo's ahead in the division. Then it's the Jets, then the Dolphins, then Patriots. So Buffalo's on top right now, as it should be, as it fucking should be, and it's nice to fucking see. Hell of a fucking game for the Buffalo Bills. Steelers obviously have a lot of work to do. It's not their fucking year this year. They got a lot of work to do. Bills go on to play Kansas City and Arrowhead, unfortunately, once again, because we just can't seem to not fucking, stop playing in Arrowhead for whatever fucking reason. For the Steelers, Pickett was 34 of 52 for 327, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times for 17 yards. He ran it once for 10 yards. Jaylen Warren had 5 attempts rushing for 24 yards. Najee Harris did not have a good day. 11 attempts rushing for 20 yards. Although they say he's 100% healthy now on Twitter. He took a plate out of his cleat or something. I guess he's healthy now, so maybe Najee Harris will start to get going again here. Pickens, 6 receptions for 83 yards, no touchdowns. He had a day for being a rookie, though. He had a fucking day. Because Pickett's actually throwing the ball his way. Deontay Johnson had 5 receptions for 60 yards. Chase Claypool had 5 receptions for 50 yards. Zach Gentry, the backup tight end, had 5 receptions for 43 yards. Freiermuth had only 2 receptions for 12 yards. But Pittsburgh has a lot of work to do. Pittsburgh has a lot of work to do, that's for sure. Certainly have a lot cut out for them in the future. That's to be expected with a rebuilding team. But this was a good fucking game, and if you were there like I was, certainly one I'm never gonna forget. I had a lot of fun with my family. I'm glad they took me. Fucking thankful, as always. And I'm so happy that this Bills team really is just killing it, though. I mean, they do make mistakes, but every team makes mistakes. Nobody's gonna be fucking perfect. You're not gonna have a perfect game. I mean, I don't even know if I should say that, though, because of the Bills-Patriots game, where they did actually have a perfect game, but for the most part, the games are never going to be perfect. But Bills are playing Kansas City. Got a lot to look forward to, hopefully. If they come out with a victory, especially number 1 seed and everything. If not, there's still a chance they could win it. But hopefully they can somewhat exercise the demon. Obviously, they're not going to be able to exercise it 13 seconds until they win a Super Bowl. That's the only way you fix that. I feel like that's the only way you're going to fix that, is winning a Super Bowl, because otherwise it's going to just be like Super Bowl 25, 26, 27, 28, and fucking Music City Miracle and all of them. If you don't win a Super Bowl, I mean, we'll always remember that, unfortunately, for, despite the fact that it was a good game, it was a painful game for us, and we're never going to remember it as like a good game. But, looking at it on paper and outside of a Bills fan perspective, it was a great game. If you're just if you're an NFL fan of all the other teams, if you're a Kansas City fan, it's the greatest game you ever watched. But for us Bills fans, it wasn't a good game. We don't want to talk about it. But Bills going to play Kansas City. Sabres, home opener, play the fucking Ottawa Senators. They gave Kevin Adams the extension in the offseason. Don Granato got an extension. Matthias Samuelsson got a 7-year extension for $30 million. Tage Thompson got a 7-year extension, I think, for $50 million. I'm skeptical about the Sabres spending money because of just the mistakes we've made in the past with the 2011 spending spree with Ville Laino and Christian Ehrhoff, or even if you want to look at it, when Tim Murray was here, Evander Kane, or even after Tim Murray, you had Ryan O'Reilly's contract, you had Eichel's contract, Skinner's contract, because Ralph Kruger didn't want to play him because he didn't fucking like him for whatever reason, so you wasted $18 million on your books, and you wasted 2 years of Jeff Skinner's career. You fucking had to trade Reinhardt, but the Sabres look like they're starting to get going here, and they've won back. I think they're starting to win back the fan base. They traded Eichel, they got him off the books, they brought in Syracuse native. They got Peyton Krebs, a young guy, to come in. They drafted Jack Quinn and Peterka, who were killing it in Rochester last year, who have made the team. So we'll talk about how they did, or we'll talk about how they do. And bring in Eric Comrie, who hopefully could help out with Craig Anderson to improve the goalie tandem. The Sabres still need a franchise goalie. They still do. Otherwise, they're not going to win a cup until they get a franchise goalie, obviously. But Sabres still do have a lot of work to do. But you have Owen Power coming up in his second year as a Sabre. He didn't play that many games. He did waste his first year of his contract, his entry-level contract, but you have 2 years on his contract. I get a little skeptical about paying these guys so early, because you still got to pay Power, you got to pay Dahlin. If Peterka or if Quinn work out, or if Cousins works out, he looks like he might have a breakout season, or whoever else, you got to pay these guys, and, you can only pay so many guys. You can't pay everybody. And that's something, obviously, we talk about with the Bills. You can't pay everybody. The Bills still got to fucking pay Ed Oliver. Jordan Poyer, I don't know if he's going to be back next year. I really don't, and it's sad to say it. And the Bills got to pay Gabriel Davis. You can't pay everybody. It doesn't matter what sport. Hockey, football. You can't pay everybody. So Kevin Adams certainly has to figure that out in the future, just like how Brandon Beane's going to have to figure out how to get this thing to work. Tremaine Edmonds, is he going to stay or is he going to go? So there's a lot of questions in the future for the Bills and Sabres when it comes to negotiations. But I think the Sabres are on the right track, starting to win the fan base back. They're bringing in guys who actually want to be here. They have a lot of young guys, youngest team in the league, but they have a nice prospect pool now, which is, you want to see that. You want to hear that. So we'll see just what happens on that front. We'll talk about the post game for Ottawa in the next video. We'll talk about the Week 5 roundtable. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Go Bills, go Sabres.